pour a cup of coffee and wake the kids. It's the Central Ohio High School Showcase with Derrick Owens Jr. Now here's your host of the COHSS, D.O. Jr.
Good morning. What's good, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to the Central Ohio High School Showcase. Hey, week 2 in the books. And what a week 2 it was, man. Some surprising scores, outcomes, high school football, man. We right back at it. So I want to just start off today with saying I got an in-studio guest with me. We'll bring him on a little bit later. My guy, Sean Edmondson from Ohio Elite Prep Magazine. He will be here to just kind of go over some games and some of the things that he's seen over the course of the first couple weeks of the high school season. And, we'll just chop it up, and hopefully we get some of your comments and any questions that you may have about some of the outstanding athletes that we've seen so far. Hey, last night, teams were putting numbers on the board big time. A lot of big-time scores out there. Some teams with 50, a couple teams with 40, some high-scoring affair in Westland that went all night. Man, we're going to talk about all of it today. So thank you for rocking with me. I appreciate it. Please like, share, comment. Tell me who your favorite team is. Did they get a W last night? Did they take a tough loss last night? I stopped at a couple different games last night. I went over to Dublin Kaufman and Gahanna. That was interesting early. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And also, I finished up my night last night at Northland at Whitehall. Another very entertaining game. Tough, hard-fought game. A lot of talent out there on the field, though. A lot of talent out there on the field. So we'll get to all of it. As you know, every Saturday we started off with our score rundown. But I just want to get my man in here real quick. Shout out to my man, producer G. Always holding me down, got me up here looking great. G, what's up, man? Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good, man. You know how I don't like these early mornings. Got to get that coffee, wake the kids up. Thanks to everybody who's tuning in right now. If you just tuned in, don't worry if you missed anything or you can't stay for the whole show. You can always rewatch it right here on Facebook or also on YouTube, Twitter, streaming all around today. And make sure you leave comments, like, and share. And like he said, let us know where your school is and where you're watching from.
Not only football and other sports as well. There's other sports going on out there in high school. Like, let's get that out there. The Central Ohio High School Showcase is not just a football, basketball, track and field, or your major event show. I want to know what's going on out there in soccer, both men's and women's. Volleyball, we got some outstanding volleyball players here in Central Ohio. Shout out to my man Otis Winston and his daughter Promise over at Westerville South. And also another young lady, Madison Martinez over at Gahanna, another outstanding volleyball player. So I want to hear about all the young people. Comment on the show. Let me know, hey, this young athlete at this school doing some outstanding things. It's a lot to keep up with. Believe me, it's just that many good ones out there. So let's get into it. The COHSS score rundown. I'm going to give you all the scores from this past week, too. Got started early on Thursday with 2 games. Got to love that. 2 games on Thursday. Groveport, 28-14 over Hamilton Township. And New Albany, 37-21 over Dublin Scioto. And then we'll get into last night's games. The Battle of Hilliard. Hilliard-Davidson over Hilliard-Darby, 14-0. That'll be in our Pick 6. We'll talk a little bit more about that game. Pick North, 35-28 over Dublin-Jerome, also in our Pick 6, and we'll talk about that game as well. Hartley bounces back. Started off with a tough loss in opening week 1. They bounced back 51-20 over defending 5 state champion Willersburg. So definitely an impressive victory there. Coach Birchfield getting the boys back together, back on the winning track. Dublin Kaufman 38-25 over Gahanna. That will also be in our Pick 6. Northland, they start 0-2, but it was they're 0-2 basically with 4 points. A 3-point loss last night, 31-28 to the hands of Whitehall. Whitehall evens their record up at 1-1, and Northland's going to have a struggle heading forward. But when they get back into the city, I think they'll be okay. Reynoldsburg also on our pick six, and this team is on fire, and they are loaded, and they're going to be a problem all year. 44-0 over Lincoln Heights. Lincoln Heights takes that loss. In a matchup that had the old coach, well, the new coach of a new team taking on his old team, Coach Trevor White, 33 was at Central Crossing, 33-8 over Beechcroft. Westerville Central, I told you last week, sneaky good over there, 45-14 over Grove City. DeSales, 32-22 over Lancaster. Pick Central, I mean, what can we say? Pick Central, they just keep rolling. 56-6 over West Toronto Ontario Prep. So look, Pickerington, they've got it going on all cylinders right now. Let me see. Olentangy, they took the loss last night to Miamisburg, 24-14. Cleveland Glenville, they get the win over Olentangy Liberty on the road, 19-17. Watterson with a huge upset over Olentangy Orange, 17-14. Now, I didn't get any updates on this game. As you know, Zach Harrison, the 5-star, top 5 player in the nation, didn't play in week 1. It doesn't look like he made an impact really in game 2. So if he didn't play, that'll be a definite story to keep an eye on going forward. This is one of the best players in the nation getting recruited by some of the top teams and yet to take the field yet. Westerville North, 35-30 over Thomas Worthington. Very entertaining game. Worthington looking for some big things. We'll talk about Thomas Worthington a little bit later. I have a stat on them that you may not know. It's unbelievable to even fathom that this has happened to Thomas Worthington. Westerville South, 27-21 over Worthington Kilbourne in double overtime. Upper Arlington with a high-scoring victory over Findlay, 49-42. Delaware got the victory by 1 over Marysville, 17-16. And one of the games we talked about that lasted all night long, Marion Franklin over Westland, 46-44. That's right, 90 points. It went on all night. Marion Franklin had a sizable lead coming down in the fourth quarter. Westland made plays, made it interesting, and that's with no overtime, 46-44. What a game. Hilliard Bradley, 20-19 over Stowe Monroe Falls. Olentangy Berlin. Sorry about that. They take the loss. They started out 1-0. They went on the road to a Canal Winchester team that's looking for some big things this year. Canal Winchester gets the victory 27-13. Big Walnut 42 over Buckeye Valley 28. Harvest Prep gets the victory 20-0. Mount Vernon with a big victory over Newark 41-27. Centennial started the season 0-1. In my opinion, when we get back into the city, this is going to be a team that a lot of people are going to hear from. Got some really good players over there, some young players. 53-6 over West High School. Amanda Clear Creek beats East 35-0. Columbus Academy over Linda McKinley 51-6. Chillicothe, they take care of business at Mifflin 56-14. Briggs with a 14-2 victory over Westone. Grandview 42-0 over Afrocentric. Columbus South 2-0, 28-6 over Burn Union. Eastmore gets it done over St. Charles 46-15. Independence started out 1-0, high scores. Thought maybe Coach Douglas was going to be able to take this team back-to-back like last year. They take a tough loss last night to Johnstown 42-0. Walnut Ridge, we talked about them in week 1. They've got talent basically on all the levels, top heavy, but definitely big-time talent. Keon Magwood and the boys get it done over Watkins Memorial, 55-7. We talked about Hartley against the defending state champion, Division 5 state champion, 51-20 over Willersburg. Very, very impressive. Reedy gets it done over West Jeff, 30-23. Bexley, 16-0 over Campbell Memorial. London, I want to talk about London just for a quick second. They got a young running back there who put up some huge numbers last year, and he looks to be off to another good start. They beat Madison Plains. That's a big-time rivalry down there, 61-0. And, yeah, let me see. Worthington Christian, they took the loss last night to Gallion Northmore, 48-26. Tays Valley with a victory, 35-0 over Logan. Granville, 17-14 over Zanesville. And, yeah, so look, that's going to wrap up the Pick 6. Got a couple games today, but it was just a very, very, very exciting night last night. So, I don't know. I want to hear some comments. Do we have any comments? What's going on out there?
Yeah, let's reset for a sec here. If you just tuned in, I know it's early in the morning. Make sure you give us a like and a share. And thanks for everybody who's commenting right now. Sue comments, hello. Stephen Ayers says, keep up the great work. So make sure you like and share the video. If you left us a comment, we appreciate it. And, yeah, more high school football to come.
Ayers, how you doing out there? What's up, my guy? Walnut Ridge, man. They definitely are going to be a team to be reckoned with. So I'm going to get into the Pick 6. Let's talk about some of these games from last night. I told you I went to a couple different games, and but I want to start with Olentangy Berlin versus Canal Winchester, and the game is one thing. Again, we talked about Olentangy Berlin gets the victory, 27-13. I'm sorry, Canal Winchester gets the victory over Olentangy Berlin, 27-13. But I want to look at both of these schools, you know, kind of like outside the game for a little bit. And as we kind of go through these, I have my man Sean Edmondson here again from Ohio Elite Prep Magazine. And we're going to bring him in and talk about, you know, what his thoughts are just about some of these programs, some of the young people that we're watching out there. But let's just go back to Olentangy Berlin for a moment. No seniors on the team. And Sean, man, I just kind of want to get your thoughts on that. They started out really good with a big victory over Briggs. Canal Winchester, again, building into something really special. We'll talk about that in a moment. But how impressive is it, man, what you think, just to start a brand new team, brand new high school, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're here, you're playing games, and no seniors, no real senior leadership to lean on. All these kids are basically brand new and helping each other.
With you know, only, you know, freshmen, sophomore, and juniors, was big for the program. I look for that program to be very successful in the future.
Right. So they had a running back, Spinner, Johnny Spinner. He was the player of the week, and he deserved it. When you start that kind of way, you know, brand new school, brand new environment, it was very exciting. So that's why I wanted to put them in the Pick 6 to see what exactly would be in week 2. How would they react after the big win at home? Would they be able to back that up with another victory, or, you know, would it kind of come back down and then now we can get back to business and move forward? So go ahead, you got some on that?
Yeah, they're going to have their struggles this year. They have, you know, just not having any senior leadership. You know, it's hard, you know. So I expect them to have their struggles, but, you know, I believe next year and the year after that it'll pay off for those younger players.
I believe so. I agree with you on that, definitely. Let's talk about Canal Winchester for a minute, man, because I was reading up on Canal Winchester, and shout out to This Week News for all the great things that they do, putting together the Friday Night Live. And again, if you don't have that, go out and get that. It's tons and tons of information about high school football. They do the preseason breakdown, and it's just tons of information in there. And that kind of leads me to Canal Winchester again, who got the win last night, 27-13. But I've been reading on there, and it's a video you can go watch as well. Canal Winchester is really investing financially into their program, and they want to become one of the top dogs around here. And they're going to start, and they're going to use their facilities to get them there. You know what I mean? So they started with the locker room, built a brand new locker room. They said they're going to have everything state of the art, film rooms, and just, you know, it's going to look like a college locker room. And I just kind of want to ask you, just because you've been around and you've seen a a lot of these programs. What is that going to do for a program like Canal Winchester, and can they take it to the next level and become one of the better programs in Central Ohio?
Most definitely. They've had their struggles as of late. As you know, back in the early 90s, they were tough. When we were in high school, they had a tough program. So I think that with the dynamics of Columbus, with people kind of moving and shifting around, that they've kind of been in a situation where it's Canal's been kind of stagnant for a little while as far as people moving in and out. But I think they've always had the athletes. I mean, Canal Winchester's has had D1 athletes, Division II athletes for the last 25 years. So I believe that the facilities will do, it will enable them to bring good quality coaches and staff and in to kind of motivate and get the kids on out there on the field.
Absolutely. So those are just two programs that we feel like are going to be on the rise here in the future. You definitely want to keep an eye on them. Now, Olentangy, they have it tough. Like, it's 4 schools out there. Olentangy, Berlin, the newest school, Olentangy Orange, Olentangy Liberty, and just Olentangy. So, they're going to have their struggles and they're going to have their rivalries, but in due time, I think they'll be able to find their place within the OCC. And Canal Winchester, hey, look, it's a brand new world out there, especially in athletics, high school. If you can surround yourself with the right people, the right staff, coaching, administration, and you want to put the resources into it, then you can definitely get yourself to be a better and upper echelon program as far as Central Ohio and maybe in the state. So definitely interested to see what's going to happen moving forward with Canal Winchester. So that was I just wanted to talk about those teams in our opening pick 6 game 1, and let's move on to game 2. I got a chance to stop here early yesterday. Got to Gahanna. It's a big game. Gahanna and Dublin Kaufman. A lot of talent on the field. Justice Harris, the running back at Gahanna, solid player. I wanted to see my guy on the track, LaCar Trent. He got to play some corner last night. He got some good work in. Gahanna didn't get off to the best start, and Dublin Kaufman was coming in very explosive, very confident. They know they're a good program, a good team, and I was kind of interested to see how Gahanna was going to respond after being shut out last week. And they came out swinging. It was very intense early, going back and forth. As you see, it was a very high-scoring game, 38-25. I want to talk about Mike Drennan for a moment. They call him "Uh-oh, my name is Donut," or "Uh-oh, my name Donut" on Twitter. You can find him out there. You can find his handle. He had a solid game. This is one of the top recruits in Ohio, offered by Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, just to name a few. He had a big game yesterday. Punt return, big yardage, had some catches, scored a touchdown running, very versatile. So let's focus on Dublin Kaufman for a minute, Sean. What are you expecting from the Shamrocks this year and the talent level that they have compared to other years? And, can they make a run for a state championship?
It's very possible. I think that they have a good core group with Donut and a couple other players. They have some D1 prospects out there. They're building a culture out there in Dublin Kaufman that's fielding some tough programs. And I think that they're going to be someone to reckon with in the near future.
Absolutely. Another top prospect they have on there, A.J. Kirk, the defensive cornerback. So, yeah, Dublin Kaufman, they're going to be around all year. And I'll just move over to Gahanna for a little bit, okay? Like we said, solid running back, Justice Harris. He made some plays. I want to get their quarterback here because he made some plays as well. But let me go back to Dublin Kaufman real quick. Their running back, Diallo. He had 94 yards last night, 23 carries. Mike Drennan, who we talked about, he had a 48 yards rushing. He scored. He had 11 carries, caught 6 passes for 55 yards, basically getting done all around the field. And the quarterback, Ethan Brown, 10-16, 10 of 16 for 100 yards. But Gahanna, I want to talk about them kind of moving forward. It's been kind of rough. You know, they lost Mike Lowry back to Pick North, and we'll talk about them coming up. But do you think that they can get it back on track after seeing what they did last night, kind of hanging with Dublin Kaufman to kind of get themselves back on a good path for the season?
I was really impressed. I was really impressed to see how they bounced back after losing their quarterback to North. I think that they're gonna have a pretty good season, and they're gonna knock a couple teams off that may have overlooked them.
Yeah, you might be right. The quarterback I was talking about for Gahanna, Will Thomas, he showed some good legs running, had a long touchdown run, threw some nice balls. So I think with Gahanna, find a way to use Justice Harris, find the pieces around him on the perimeter, take some shots downfield. Justice Harris, he had a 99-yard kickoff return, so he's explosive. They can make plays. I think Gahanna, they'll stick around this year. They'll be fighting for a playoff spot, I believe, around the end of the season. Think so? Fighting.
I believe it's going to come down to them in Reynoldsburg. But Reynoldsburg is right now playing the way that we expected them to play with all those Division I prospects on their team.
All right, let's move on. Game number 3, the Battle of Hilliard. Hilliard-Davison, Hilliard-Darby. We already know what this kind of game is like. You see the score, 14-0. That's what it always is. Head coach Brian White over at Davison, been there 20 years. A lot of people don't know this about Hilliard-Davison. 2 state championships in football. So, yeah, Pick Central is the team now, and, they got theirs. But there's another team in Central Ohio with not only 1 but 2 state championships and a very solid program. So, you have to put this game in there. It's just so much passion, so much tradition. I thought Hilliard-Darby would put up a better fight. But, look, this is the kind of football that they play. In a box, 3 yards, cloud of dust, old school football. The Wildcats were able to get it done last night, 14-0 over Hilliard-Darby. G, what's up, man? Everything all right over there, man? All right. So, Sean, let me ask you, Hilliard-Davison, can they get back to the prominence that they once had when they were winning state titles? Do they have what it takes to get back to that level, or has it moved on to a, Pickerington, Dublin, dominance?
There's a never situation when dealing with high school football in Central Ohio. There's just so much parity around the OCC.
It is.
And at one point in time, Davison had a stranglehold for the most part. And I think that now, with the emergence of the Pickeringtons and the Gahannas and
Dublin,
the Olentangy,
absolutely.
There's just so much parity in the OCC. So I most definitely believe that they'll have their turn. They'll be back. So it's just a matter of when they get a good group to come through there, and
Now Hilliard Bradley's, they've been hot. They've been hot here recently in Hilliard. So, maybe that's the new team in Hilliard that's going to take over the mantle. But before you can be the new king, you got to beat the champ. You got to beat the champion. Hilliard-Davison is the champ of Hilliard when it comes to their football program. So that was a big game last night. Let's move on. I want to talk about Reynoldsburg, man. If Pickerington is the consensus top team in the area, the top team in the state, a lot of people put Pick North number 2. A lot of people, were riding with, Olentangy, a couple programs out there, Liberty, Orange, I want to talk about the group of young men over here at Reynoldsburg, man. They have it rolling. Desmond Cooper, who I mistake last week for a cornerback. I won't do that again. The defensive end, making plays out there. Mershawn Rice, the wide receiver, making plays. I want to shout out my guy Breon Eddings last night with a big interception, in the game over Lincoln Heights. 44-0. Last week against Upper Arlington, off to a slow start. But, hey, right now, do you think outside of Pick Central that there's a better team in Reynoldsburg when you see what they bring to the table?
I don't know, Derrick. It's hard to not agree with you. I do know that this is a rebuilding year for Licking Heights. They have a very small offensive line. They don't have a lot of returners on defense, so I knew that they would be, filling some voids this year and trying to regroup.
And you have some insight with that program as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, yes. My son, I had 2 sons that actually played at Licking Heights. So I do know a little bit about the program. They did get their running back Zion Sharp, who actually thought that he wasn't going to be able to play. He was able to play after, I believe, a couple days of practice or a week of practice, being back at practice. But their offensive line is very small, and to play against some of the teams that they have on their schedule, it's going to be rough. Couple names I wanted to shout out.
Please do.
You hear about the Desmond Coopers. You hear about the Mershawn Rices.
Absolutely.
They have a couple kids over there at Reynoldsburg that are difference makers. You have a slot receiver, Princeton Hoskins.
Okay.
You have a running back, Javante Edwards. Javante got injured and missed part of last season.
Okay.
He's a big playmaker.
To add with the playmakers they already have.
Reynoldsburg has a lot of talent. If they're able to put everything together, Reynoldsburg can compete for the OCC. Because when you look at Reynoldsburg on the defensive side, with Desmond Cooper,
Jeremiah Burton,
size, they're tough. They're a tough group. So I look forward to seeing what the next couple weeks will do. As far as their growth and what they'll do, in these next, because they got a couple good tests coming up. So, in the next 2 weeks, we'll be able to see what Reynoldsburg is really made of. If they come out of the next couple weeks undefeated and continuing to get better, the sky's the limit for this group.
I believe they have the kind of group that when you get them in this kind of situation where, group of seniors, wanting that success, hungry for that success. They've heard everything over the last couple of years, how talented they've been, how they've not necessarily got it done to people's expectations, outside people. And these are still high school kids, but they have expectations for themselves as well. So it's a good group. They have talent all over the field. D-line, O-line, receivers, running backs. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm like you. I want to see them progress over the next couple weeks. I want to see if they get to the point where is it going to start feeling like pressure. They just need to keep having fun, keep playing their games, and let's have some great games by the time we get down to the playoffs. It's definitely going to be interesting.
They have to continue to get better each week. If they continue to get better each week, then they'll give themselves a chance.
Absolutely. So Lincoln Heights, again, in a rebuilding year, got off to a 1-0 start, though. And that's another team, that the team that lost to Lincoln Heights last week and lost a thriller last night, Westland, maybe be on the lookout for them. But Lincoln Heights, they take the loss last night, 44-0. Reynoldsburg, hey, listen, man, on the COHSS, Reynoldsburg, we watching you. Let's make it happen out there. I want to see one of those classic games with Pick Central in the playoffs, 48-50. Let's do it. All right, let's move on. The quarterback that was talked about in his squad basically all summer once the move was made, Pickerington North, Mike Lowry versus Dublin Jerome. I thought this would be one of the better games. Both solid programs, discipline, just kind of know what they bring to the table from a coaching perspective, what they require from the young people out there. 35-28, Pick North got the victory over Dublin Jerome last night. Pickerington North, look, trailed 21-7 at halftime. So they called on Mike Lowry in the second half, and he was able to get it done. He hit Tim Cheatwood with a touchdown pass with about 7 minutes left to go. And then the guy that he has the best connection with right now, Jalen Baylor. They've really been off to a hot start. may be the best duo right now for a quarterback and pass catcher. They're high right now. But Pick North gets it done. I want to start with Pick North, and then we'll come back to Dublin Jerome because Dublin Jerome also one of those programs that you would just think that, you know, they have the facilities and everything to have like big time success, and they've had some good players come out of there and moved on to some nice programs. But let's talk about Pick North, man. Mike Lowry at the Mike Lowry Show on Twitter. You can find him out there. What's your expectations, man? Pick North this year.
Pick North, they have a lot of weight on their shoulders right now. Everybody, they have big expectations. With Mike, you know, coming back to, you know, Pickerington, him still, you know, trying to put up, you know, good numbers still, you know, as far as his recruitment.
Yes,
he has a couple offers. He's still looking for, you know, something a little bigger. Where he believes he's a Power 5 guy, which he skill wise, I believe he is as well. So I think that, you know, he has a lot to prove, and I think that they'll be in the thick of it when it comes down to the end.
Last night he had a big game, 28 for 42, 331 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big game from Dublin Jerome quarterback also, Hayden Shell, 20 of 37, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. I like to see that in a game. 2 high school quarterbacks, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns between them. I mean, because that's where the game is going to.
Almost 40 pass attempts per quarterback. I mean, that's a lot of passes in the air.
Yeah, in a high school game where it's predominantly running the ball. So I think these will be 2 teams that are definitely Pick North is going to be in the thick of it all the way through. Dublin Jerome, look, they have a quarterback. I mean, we see that, and let's see how they can, you know, put some pieces around him. Okay, and you know, they gave up a couple late touchdowns, so you want to see maybe a little bit better defensive effort when you got a chance to knock off the big dog. Like, you had them down, you know what I mean? So you always want to capitalize. Yeah, you want to capitalize on that. Absolutely, no question. So that was a big game last night. Pick North gets it done, 35-28 over Dublin Jerome. Let's get to the last game of the Pick Six. A game I finished my night at last night. Whitehall at home against Northland. And look, man, there's some talent out there. Lots of talent. Let's start with Northland. They take the loss last night. They fall to 0-2. Comment out there. Who's your team out there? Shoot me some comments. What's up? But let's talk about Northland, okay? They fall to 0-2. They lost the first game in Michigan to Veland, school in Michigan, 28-27. 1 point loss there. They come back. They get 28 points. Well, basically almost 28 points again to 28 this night. They lose to the Rams, 31-28. But let's talk about what you saw from Khalil Branham, John Branham, the Northland football team. Jesse Pruitt was out there making some plays, some other young men. Before we get on Khalil playing quarterback, let's talk about John for a minute. What'd you see from John last night? One of the top running backs in Central Ohio, in Ohio.
Overall, I mean, first of all, I just want to say that was one of the best regular season football games I've seen in a couple years. That Northland football team has a lot of heart. They have a lot of heart. Whitehall, they just fought back and forth. It went back and forth. I believe that Northland is going to give the City League all that they can handle. I mean, at this point right now, I believe I know who the top 3 teams are in the City League, but I can't say 1, 2, or 3 right now, and I still have to let a couple weeks play out. But they have a tough defense at Northland. They have a tough offense. Khalil and John carrying that team. Yeah,
I believe so too. I heard a stat last night that basically they've been a part of every touchdown that Northland has scored, either assisted by a pass from Khalil or ran in by John. John had a big game last night, 3 touchdowns, over 150 yards. So he was putting up numbers. Let's talk about Khalil for a minute, man, because I guess my angle on this is a lot of kids in his position, a top recruit, verbally committed to University of Michigan, as a wide receiver, as an athlete, pretty much how all high school young people are looked at, except for on the O-line and the D-line, and even sometimes that changes. But Khalil has the potential to be one of the top wide receivers in the nation. And, you know, for his team, for what they need, he's playing quarterback. I mean, it's not like he's not the athlete that can't do it. He still can throw the ball. He still can move. He can run. But I just want to say personally for myself that I think it shows that how much that he cares about the team. Hey, he could have been selfish and said, hey, no, find somebody else to play quarterback because I want to put my numbers up at receiver and I want to do my thing. But he didn't do that. He's doing what's needed for the team at this time and playing quarterback. And so he's going to have his ups and downs and his struggles. But I don't think anybody at all can underestimate or undervalue what kind of athlete he is. The kid is special. He's 6'2", he's 200 pounds. He can run like the wind. I mean, he's athletically, I mean, he's the total package. What did you see from Khalil last night, and were just some areas that he can improve? Just small things, that can help Northland be a better team with him playing quarterback.
Derrick, we stood on the sideline and watched that game yesterday. I was very impressed with Khalil at quarterback. I mean, honestly, he may be the best quarterback in the City League. I mean, right now at this point, he may be the best quarterback in the City League, although he's a receiver. I mean, he made some great passes. I mean, and then athletically, he does some things that other guys just can't do.
Yes, that's true.
I believe that Northland has to get Jesse Pruitt and some of those other guys involved on offense a little bit more to kind of take a little bit of weight off of JJ and Khalil. But all in all, they have a tough team at Northland. They have a tough team, and my hat off to the coaching staff out there. They're working hard, and they got that group on track. They're down 2 games right now, but that team will probably reel off the next 7 out of the next 8 games, if not 6 or they're gonna win. They're gonna win probably pretty much all of their City League games, I would think.
One game I'm interested in the city, since we're talking about it, and I do see a couple comments coming in, and I just wanted to shout out my guy real quick. What's up, Zach Fleer? You know Zach Fleer from 270 Hoops. That's my guy out there. But I see your Central Crossing comments, man. I see him out there with the big win over Beechcroft. I see that. And Zach Fleer said his top 3 would be Walnut Ridge, Northland, and Eastmoor if he had to pick the top 3 teams in the city right now. And that's a guy that not only knows basketball, he knows baseball, he knows football, he knows what he's talking about out there. So maybe that's something to think about. But yeah, Northland, they're going to go as far as the Branhams can carry them, hopefully for them. What I wish for them is just health. They're going to have a lot of touches. They're going to be, carrying the ball a lot. And so as long as they can maintain their health, I think that they'll do what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Solid young men there. Maybe they can uplift Northland to something special this season. But I do agree with you. Young men like Jesse Pruitt, find a way to get him some touches. Let him make some plays. He's a good athlete as well. I see him on the track. He can make plays. He's got speed. Let's use him a little bit more as well. Whitehall, man, let's talk about it, man. Whitehall started off last week against Westerville Central, a tough loss, tough opponent. Some big-time players on there, and Whitehall definitely held their own. Some turnovers late in the game got to them. But, look, man, Ray Melberg at quarterback. And I want to shout out a young man who had a huge game last night defensively, and that's R.J. Burris, a pick 6, and he had a pro tackle. The crowd just went You know, he hit that woo. They got that last night. He was making plays. He was all over the field in Whitehall's defensive secondary, and it really, I believe, it propelled them at the end. You know, the pick six, the turnover, and just the energy that Whitehall was playing with. They had momentum early. Northland came and they took it back. You know, of course, you know they're not going to quit, but Whitehall found a way to get this victory, and it was a big victory because both of these teams are Division II. They're going to be the teams that are fighting for
Same region.
Yeah, same region, fighting for the playoffs at the end. And I think Whitehall, when they get in the league play, man, they're gonna be in for a tough Friday night, man. Whitehall, a lot of talent over there, and a couple special players who can really make things happen. What you think, man?
Whitehall has a heck of a defense. I've seen some of the biggest hits the last 2 weeks, just watching Whitehall play. They have a tough defense, and the turning point in last night's game was the safety.
Yes.
They got a safety late in the fourth quarter that actually changed momentum and gave them that extra burst that kind of propelled them past Whitehall.
It was a 1-point game.
Yeah,
they propelled past Northland. It was a 1-point game. Yeah. And they get the safety, take it up to 3. We all know, you know, not a lot of great field goal kickers out there.
Yeah.
So it put Northland in a compromised position to go down and tie or win the game. I do agree with you. I think Whitehall, we talk about this all the time in high school athletics, man. Groups of kids, seniors that come through. A couple years ago, you had it at Beechcroft. Now you're seeing it at Whitehall. Even though they made the playoffs the last 2 years, this is a group that feels like now as seniors, like, hey, this is our time to do something special, to really get out here and, you know, make this run for a state playoff. So go ahead.
They'll make some noise in the Mid-State League this year. They're so athletic, and defensively, like I said, they're tough.
I agree. And they got a great leader at quarterback, Raymel Bird. I mean, he's been through all the fires, through the wars. They trust him, and he's definitely a young man to trust. And he had a big game last night, over 100 yards, 20 carries, a couple touchdowns on the ground. He can also get it done in the air last year, 1,600 yards rushing, 1,100 yards passing. So he's a dual threat, athletic quarterback out there, and he'll definitely make some plays for Whitehall moving forward. So Whitehall gets to 1-1. Northland drops to 0-2, but Northland will be around definitely in the City League North as they continue their season. So that's it for the pick six. Again, Olentangy Berlin takes the loss to Canal Winchester. Dublin Kaufman over Gahanna. Hilliard Davison shuts out Hilliard Darby. Reynoldsburg, really, really, really impressive over Lincoln Heights. Pick North with a comeback victory at home over Dublin Jerome. And again, exciting cap off to the night. Whitehall with the victory, 31-28 over Northland. I want to thank my guy, Sean Edmondson from Ohio Elite Prep Magazine. You can follow Ohio Elite Prep Magazine on Twitter, on Facebook. And if you want to bring Sean in, man, we'll let him give all his handles and everything out. See where to follow you.
You can follow me at Ohio Elite Prep 92 on Twitter and on Facebook at Ohio Elite Prep Magazine. We have our football edition of our magazine is out at Massey's Pizzas, so stop by and pick that up. We have a lot of these top athletes in the area that are featured in the magazine, as well as a lot of the top youth area prospects.
Yeah, and he's got a great team that he's building over there, and you may see some of his reporters, you know, coming on and hanging out with me on the Central Ohio High School Showcase, just talking about some of the games that they're covering and some of the athletes that they're getting a chance to watch as well. So I want to thank everybody for watching, everybody for checking in. I appreciate everybody out there. So we're going to complete the pick six. Again, I want to thank Sean Edmondson from Ohio Elite Prep Magazine for stopping through. And we're getting close to wrapping up, but I want to talk about some other sports because I need you out there to help me with these other sports. I need to know who are the top teams. I got a couple records here, but I want to know top teams, top players in other sports, not just football. I want to talk about soccer, girls soccer, boys soccer. Some really great players out there. So I want to know who they are. Comment, let me know. Tell me what games to go to, what schools. Is it Dublin Kaufman? great soccer program. Is it Hilliard? One of the Hilliard schools, Pickerington. I would love to know. And tell me where you want me to go with next. You want me to go out and cover a volleyball game? You want me to go out and cover a soccer game? I'll be there for you. Let's do it. But I do have some records around the area. Let's talk about them for a minute. Girls soccer, the OCC. I mean, let's talk about some of the teams that are on top in their records. Westerville Central, okay? Westerville Central, they're on top of the OCC Buckeye with a record of 4-1. So Westerville Central looking to get off to a hot start and make a run and get to the playoffs, make a run in the playoffs. Soccer is soccer nationally, worldly, we know, people wanted to take over, but in high school, this is big. Young kids are playing a lot of soccer. We know football has issues, so as long as it's athletics and they're out there and they're making a difference and an impact and keeping their grades up, hey, I'm all here for it. And I love to get to some soccer matches and learn the game of soccer. I'm not the biggest soccer aficionado. I'll tell you that. But I do watch the game. I did see my guy out there, Usain Bolt. Did you see that? He was playing soccer the other day. So they love soccer around the world. The OCC capital, New Albany. New Albany, 3-0 with a couple ties, but no losses. So they're on top in the OCC capital division. In the OCC Cardinal, we got Hilliard Darby. They're on top with a 4-0-1 record. Dublin Jerome right behind them at 3-1. So that'll be a tight battle. Dublin Kaufman, we just talked about, they always have a great soccer program. If you remember, I did a piece on Abby Steiner, who was one of their great athletes, not only in soccer, but in track and field as well. She's at the University of Kentucky right now, playing both sports, track and field and soccer. So that's a really good program over there at Dublin. Almost the state champion a couple years ago, probably about 3 years ago, but they'll be right back at it. But they're on top in the OCC Central, 2-0-1 their record. In the OCC Ohio, Reynoldsburg, not only on fire in football, on fire in girls soccer as well. Who knew? Undefeated, 5-0. But Pickerington North, right on their heels, also at 3-0. So this may be a matchup that we not only see on the gridiron with potential playoff implications or in the playoffs, but we may be able to see that on the soccer pitch as well. That'd be awesome for a nice little rivalry going throughout the year. And then in the Columbus City League, Westone, 2-1-1. And that was in the north. And in the south, Briggs. Briggs off to an 0-2 start, but hey, got more games to play, so we'll definitely see how the season turns out in the City League. And remember, Beechcroft had a really good soccer team some years ago. Linda McKinley, another team in the city that's pretty good at soccer. So that was on the girls' side. On the OCC, on the boys' side, let's look at some of their records. Olentangy Liberty, undefeated in the OCC Buckeye, 4-0, followed up by Olentangy, 3-0-1. So that'll be a battle throughout the year. New Albany, 3-0 in the OCC Capital Division. And again, this is boys soccer. Hilliard Bradley, 3-1 in the OCC Cardinal Division. Westland, 3-0 in the OCC Central. Westland is trying to turn the program. They got some young kids over there. They're trying to get it done on the football field. They're trying to turn that program around. They've been down for a little bit. But watch out for Westland. Watch out for Westland. Maybe a couple upsets this year. Who knows? Lancaster, 4-0 in the OCC Ohio. And in the City League, Westone, 3-0. Good in soccer, good in baseball. I believe Weststone's won the baseball City League championship like the last 8 years or something like that. It's ridiculous. And South, off to a hot start in football and in soccer, 3-1. So shout out to my alma mater there. Girls volleyball, Olentangy Liberty off to a 4-0 start. Hey, let's go. Watkins Memorial off to a 5-1 start in the OCC Capital. In the OCC Cardinal, Hilliard Bradley, 6-1. Dublin Kaufman, 2-0 in the OCC Central. Pickerington Central, I mean, do we expect anything less? 5-0 in the OCC Ohio. They got some really good volleyball players over at Pick Central. They take this sport really serious, as in all sports they do over there. And in the City League North, East, off to a 1-0 start in girls volleyball. So look, it's a big. I want to shout this event out. If you're out, you want to get out, you want to see some cross country. It's a huge cross country event going on over at Hilliard-Davidson. 14 teams, some of the best cross country runners in the state. Hilliard-Davidson, a great program when it comes to distance running and cross country. So it'll be amazing times ran out there. So very excited about the potential to go out and see some cross country as well. I don't know if you know this, but in Central Ohio over the last couple years, we've been so dominant in distance running, not only in the sprints and the relays, and we've done well in the track and field championships as well there. But when it comes to the distance running, we've had some super performers and performances. One young lady to keep an eye on out there, and I'm sure that she'll be at this cross-country meet today, but her name is Gia Napoleon from Thomas Worthington. She's one of the best runners in the state. She's outstanding. So definitely keep an eye out on all your cross-country athletes as well. G, what's up, man? Everything okay, man? We made it through pretty good. I know it's Saturday. It's football's back. College football's back. I want to thank you for waking up and rocking with me. We do this every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I used to go for 2 hours. Now I'm only back to 1 hour. I like 1 hour. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Saturday morning, the Central Ohio High School Showcase. We stream live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Follow the show, like the show, retweet the show, share the show. I need all of those things done. I appreciate everybody out there rocking with me today. And again, look, today, very exciting around the world of college football. It's back. We've waited so long. It's been a rough, couple weeks here in Columbus. We all know about that. But enjoy your college football today. We'll be back next week with more high school sports, football. Watterson with a big W today. I'm over Olentangy Orange. Shout out to my man, Coach Cat over there, assistant coach, man. I seen the Facebook post, man. Everybody was super excited. Felt good for y'all over there. I want to sign off from my man, Sean Edmondson, again from Ohio Elite Prep Magazine. Thank you for stopping in with me, man, and hope to do some more things with you in the future. G, you got anything for the people today, man? There's nothing else. I'm your host, Derrick Owens Jr. It is the Central Ohio High School Showcase, man. I'll see y'all next week. Thank you for rocking with me. Be good. I'm out.